Have you ever asked the question, why are most of the countries poor, especially those with many natural resources? This is Venezuela, the country with the largest oil reserves on the planet, 300 billion barrels, or about 18% of all world reserves. Last year, inflation amounted to 1.7 million percent there. As a result, 3 million citizens left the country. This is 10% of the population. And this is Zimbabwe. There are more than 3,500 gold deposits there. Country is also full of copper, nickel, lithium and iron. But for some reason, every fourth citizen has AIDS. The average life expectancy is 45 years and $20 a month is a good salary. And this is Iceland, an island in the northern part of the Atlantic Ocean. There is nothing but fish and low temperatures. Teachers and engineers earn about $5,000 here. Having very high standard of living, it's one of the most developed and wealthiest countries in the world. So why do countries with not many natural resources often live better than those who rich in such resources? How does it work? We all know that money is the blood of any economy and politics is a concentrated economy. In order to understand how this world works, you need to understand how money circulates in it. Let's go back in time to the Middle Ages and look what economy was like back then. The problem of medieval society is that there is no consumption growth. Any attempt to become rich means that someone will become poorer, and the richer you become, the poorer one becomes. Why is there no consumption growth in the Middle Ages? Because money is needed for consumption. And to get the money, you need to sell something for consumption to other people, goods or services. But their consumption does not change for centuries because people do not have more money for centuries. It's a vicious circle. Customers need money to increase their consumption. But without increased consumption, they have nowhere to get this money from. Civilization cannot develop. And for 2000 years, before the Renaissance and the Industrial Revolutions, it has been walking in the vicious circle. Before the 15th century, in order to become rich, you had to create problems for other people because the size of money and the economy did not change. Often the impudent ones who walk all over people became rich. So how to solve this problem? To increase consumption, people should have money that doesn't exist in nature. But what if we create a new system that allows to take money out of nothing? So we can increase consumption and this will drive the economy. Because money out of thin air allows entrepreneurs to build and launch new enterprises. Money from the air makes it possible to credit the future economic development, business, factories, science, consumption, etc. Nowadays, there are no problems with financing any projects and businesses. There is a lot of money and large investors are constantly looking for where to put them. But 500 years ago, everything was completely different. Nowadays, the economy is constantly growing and the amount of money is increasing. Inflation, the growth of comfort and wealth prove this. So, to sum up, in order to become rich, there are two ways. First, grabbing resources from other people, old destructive option. Second, gaining resources by creating new. Until the 15th century, during the major part of human history, it was only possible to grab. Nowadays, countries that use this option, like Venezuela, Zimbabwe and even Russia, are significantly behind the countries following the other way, creation of new resources, like USA, Germany, Iceland. This is reflected in corruption, ineffective laws, raiding, etc. In successful countries, creators of new resources become rich. In poor countries, those who can seize existing resources become rich. For example, if you look at Forbes' list of richest people, you'll notice that in the United States there are those who created new services and products that literally changed the world. And in post-Soviet countries like Russia, Ukraine and Kazakhstan, there are those who just made profit by redistribution of mineral resources like oil and metals. So why do most countries chosen the old, inefficient and brutal option? In Asia, Africa and Latin America, it happened historically that they had seen only this mode of development, while Europeans understood much earlier how to develop the economy properly. Add to this the fact that Africa, America and Asia have been colonies for centuries, from where the resources were pumped out, as a result of which building a full-scale market economy there is still difficult nowadays. A situation in post-Soviet countries is better, but they are still far from developed countries. Building proper and stable economic system here is a problem too, because in past century they had communism and planned economy system which significantly slowed down the progress. The worst thing is not that most of resources in many of developing countries are being taken away in favor of a small part of privileged elite. The worst thing is that for most of people it's normal. Most of these people sincerely believe that one can become rich only by tricking and using others for personal gain, walking all over others. Therefore, most of people in poor countries do not believe in laws and honest court. Of course, not all of the population in these countries shares this view, but still a major part does. That's because they haven't seen an alternative. Many people live in the obsolete 15th century ideology. They, the majority people, call it what you want, do not believe in economic growth and honest ways to become rich. They believe in redistribution and grabbing. And what people believe in influences what people do. When they assume governmental positions, they think only about themselves and don't care about other citizens. Yes, some countries changed their attitude, like for example Singapore, Malaysia or Qatar and Emirates. They achieved economic miracle in last 30 to 40 years. Some East European countries like Poland and Hungary are changing too, but still most countries nowadays are in a very difficult situation. This was my view on poor and rich countries' problem. Hope it was interesting for you. Thank you for watching. Share your thoughts in comments and see you next time.